All right, we're live. It is the Over Under podcast, Over Under 95 podcast. I am in my living room. Dan is in his stay, and we are starting it off. So let's get everybody. Let's tweet out to the masses that we're on online.
Yep.
Get people jumping in. It's funny. It jumps from like 3 to 29 to 40 to. So it moves pretty quick here, Dan.
All right, let's get into it.
Obviously, there's Super Bowl today. There's some college basketball games of interest that I at least want to look at tonight. And the NBA is a little weird because of everything happening with COVID. So there's a lot to jump into there when it comes to that. There's tons of prop bets as well. I've only looked at a couple so far. I'm still looking at a few. And then there's the Deshaun Watson odds that are out there, I'm sure. Matthew Stafford odds. And then there's hockey tonight as well. So all that on the table as we let everybody get going. So we talking stocks or what? Somebody's asking. No,
we're not doing stocks tonight.
Yeah.
No stocks.
Yeah. Hey, it's whatever is big. But I think we should start hoops first, Dan, because there's an interesting slate tonight.
Hockey doesn't start till late tonight anyway, so let's start hoops.
And then we got there's a game right now, USC Oregon State, underway, and I'm gonna kind of share my screen like I did last week, so people can at least see some of the games that we're going to discuss. So let's go to college hoops first. The game I'm interested in more than anything is the Michigan State game tonight. The reason for my interest is like what kind of Michigan State team are we going to see tonight? And on the flip side, they've had like 20 days off. So, sorry, it's the NBA. Let me get to the basketball here. But, you know, I just look at it. Rutgers been bad lately. They've been bad. So, like, do they look at this as a spot tonight where Michigan State's been off for so long? They return home, get a little home cooking, and that's why they're favored here. I'm going to be honest with you. I like Sparty tonight. I think it's a bounce back spot for Michigan State having all that time off. I do want to throw this out here, though. Last night, Seton Hall had a ton of time off, and Creighton came down to win the game. So that's the only thing I'd be worried about. But how do you feel about the matchup for tonight?
I think Rutgers, I mean, they bounced back real nicely. You know, they had a nice win on the road. So, I do against I'm blanking on the team it was. But, I mean, listen, Rutgers has been a good home side this year. Okay, they have been. I know they haven't been as good, and, you know, they were probably a little bit overrated at times, you know, throughout the season, especially early on. I mean, we saw them, you know, in the couple Iowa games, and you know, they're not, I mean, they're not an elite team, but they're good. And I actually think that this is a really good spot for them tonight. You know, catching Michigan coming off a long break. Michigan State coming off a long break. You know, again, Michigan State on the road this year has not been great. Losses at Wisconsin, losses at Minnesota. You know, they haven't played in quite a while due to, you know, all the COVID shit. Rutgers is coming off, you know, in my opinion, a pretty good win at Indiana. I mean, I think that, you know, they were like a 4.5, 5 point dog. They won that outright. I think that Rutgers probably is straightening things out after they lost pretty much 5 in a row. Before that, they were on a roll. They hit the Big Ten. They kind of got stuck in the mud. They were terrible offensively versus Michigan State on the road. I do expect them to bounce back here, Joe. I think that this is a good spot for Rutgers. I do lean that way. I would lay the points here tonight.
All right, it went from 2.5. The line now 3. Total sitting at 141. Just to kind of show you here, look at this. Last 10 games against the spread. Michigan State's 2-8, while Rutgers is 5-5. So on a betting side, clearly Rutgers has been has been playing better, and even on the road, you see Michigan State struggles, while Rutgers plays pretty well at home. I just like to look at some of the trends. They played back in January. Look at the score here. Wow. 68-45.
Yeah, they were bad on that road trip. They were very bad.
And I think they were both ranked based off that. So yeah, I just like to look at that's going to change. That Michigan State's not playing well enough, in my opinion, to have another blowout opportunity. But I like to look at trends, and we saw the last matchup here. This is a game I'm going to bet on. The road team is 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 meetings. So Dan, what I'm going to do tonight is we can ring the bell early, and we disagree already. So here we go. This is the one thing I don't like. See this one right here? Spartans 1-8 against the spread their last 9 games. That's not good, Dan. That's like you're betting on a team. You're betting on a team that essentially their last 10 games has covered 1 game. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's chalk it up, baby. Give me Sparty to win outright tonight, plus 125.
Okay.
So I'll make it two. I'll make it 2 plays, Dan. Give me +3, and give me the plus 125 Sparty tonight.
Okay. There you go. Whoops, there you go.
And again, fade or follow. I did not have a great Thursday last week, but I've been looking at this one for a bit. And one of the trends that I saw recently is that Rutgers, I believe, and I'm going to look it up one more time. I believe Rutgers is 1-5 their last. Let me just take a look. I was looking at this a little while ago, and Rutgers 1-5 just in the month of January. Michigan State obviously had that Purdue loss, right? Recently?
Yep.
So I think Rutgers is struggling right now. That's not saying that Sparty isn't. I think Izzo gets his team back together tonight. So I'm going with the +3 in the old money line on this game tonight. So there we go. Okay. And I just saw here that our buddy John checks in. Gabe Brown out for Sparty tonight?
Yes, that is correct.
What's his statistics?
I will pull them up for you here and see what we have. But I mean, Brown is not I would say not an impact player. I mean, he's more of a bench guy. Has been. I think he's more like an 8 to 10 point per game scorer. Excuse me. Yeah, there you go. So I mean, he's not not a major impact player, but still, someone who's in their rotation.
Oh, he's that big number 44. He's a big guy that can shoot. Yep, I remember him. All right. I mean, he's a rotational big. So, yeah, in his last, this year he's averaging 7 points a game. Not bad.
And 8 points a game. He's not a good rebounder. I mean, he does shoot the 3, which is interesting, more of a stretch 3. So,
yeah,
again, it's not a major loss.
That's the knock on
not a major loss, but again, not someone that I mean, obviously somebody you'd rather have in the rotation. He's played all 12 games this season.
All right, and so our buddy John is on Sparty as well. So there we go. So 1-9, 1-8 against the spread the last 9 games overall. Any game you're looking at for tonight, Dan Livshats?
In the college, there's 2 games I'm looking at. Unfortunately, they're big time faves. The one I think I prefer is at 8:00 in Lawrence, Kansas versus TCU. I'm looking to lay the 14 with Kansas tonight. And
TCU is not good. I'm sorry. I know I've watched them a few times. I know they're 9-5. I know that, but I've watched them. I'm not really impressed.
They're also 2-4 in the Big 12. I mean, outside of that Tulsa win, their non-conference record has been Not so great. I'm not super impressed by it. Did have a nice win on the road at Oklahoma State earlier in the year, but I mean, since they're also coming off a long break, their last game they scored 46 points on the road at Oklahoma. Feels like a similar spot in this situation. They haven't played basically since January 12th, so we're going on, literally over 2 weeks at this point that they have not played. To me, Kansas, I mean, I know Kansas is now, a loser, three straight road games. They're back home in Lawrence tonight. I suspect that they'll correct things. Now, Kansas they're not as good as they have been in the past. This is not an elite Kansas Jayhawks team, not rock chalk type team, but I mean, it's they're a good team. I'm not going to PP it, but it is a place that I'm looking at tonight.
Look at this, Dan. They played on January 5th. Kansas won 93-64. Since then, the Frogs have lost by an average of 27 points a game.
I mean, again, I do think that if you're going to play a side, that would be the side that I would be on. Me personally,
in general, I mean, Kansas at home is I know they lost to Oklahoma, right? What was that, on the road this weekend? But
lose the 3 straight, all 3 games on the road.
There you go. They return home. They play well at home. The only thing I would say here, and then again, the road team 4-0 against the spread the last 4 meetings. I agree with you, Dan. Just look at these Horned Frogs. 1-5 against spread last 6. They don't play well on Thursday nights. I don't really know if that matters. They're 0-5 against the spread. And then, obviously Kansas, they play very well on Thursday night, 7-1 against the spread. But as a favorite, though, 1-4. So just some things to keep an eye on. And when it comes to over-under trends, TCU's been under overall. And then where is it? Oh, I saw a Kansas trend here. So I kind of lean over in this one for the simple fact that if you're going to get a lot of points and win by double digits, I think you're going to have to get a lot of points. So I kind of lean the over, but it's Big 12. So I hate betting totals in the Big 12. They're like one of the leagues I actually stay away from. Just some other games. If this was a football game, Memphis SMU, this would be a hell of a game, right? That looks like the numbers dead on here. If this was football, I've watched Memphis, man. They're up and down. They have all the talent in the world, but they go on the road today against an SMU team that's played pretty well at home. I'm interested. They're both 7-3 their last 10. SMU's been the better team against the spread. This one I'd circle tonight. I just think that SMU is the better team because they're at home tonight. And I watched
Memphis is one. Yep, Memphis has won 3 straight. They're playing better, Joe. They're second in the American now. They're improved from where they were a couple weeks ago. I think you have to give them some credit for where they've come since that loss.
They were slow. They were slow starters. At one point, I was like, "Is Penny Hardaway going to make it this year?" Just because, was he going to pack it in? You know what I mean? But no, I think so. That's one I'd look at. You mentioned Memphis has won 3 in a row here. I'm actually interested to see the matchups with this one. Yeah, home team, 15-6 doesn't matter much, but the favorite. So generally in this matchup, home team and favorites. So that's why I was interested to see the 4, the way that Memphis has been playing. SMU is just so good at home. I'd probably stay away from that game, but if I had to choose a side, I think I'm on SMU. And the total's at 142. Which might seem a little high to me.
I mean, it is a little high, but again, I think at this point most of these totals have been settled. And to me, that's pretty much where we're looking. I do have 2 at 9 o'clock that are of interest, Joe. I know Gonzaga plays at 9 o'clock. I kind of want to stay away from the Zags. I think that they're going to be a big time heavy fave tonight, obviously for obvious reasons. 9 o'clock, Houston, Tulane, and Wyoming, San Diego State. There's 2 others I'm kind of taking a look at. To me, Houston again is if you guys have followed Houston at all this year, 13-1, just an insanely smothering defense, right? That's the name of the game with Houston. They're a defensive team. They're not going to score 75, 80 a night. Most nights they're going to put up, my opinion, they'll probably, I think, average something like 73, 74 on the road. But the way that they do it is they hold the other team, basically under 60 every single night. I think Wichita is the only team to score above 60 on them since South Carolina did early in the season. To me, this is an easy play. I am gonna PP this one, Joe. Give me Houston Tulane under 120 again, Houston defense travels. It's one of those things we kind of always talk about. Even in college basketball, defense travels. On the road, they've been really, really good. Outside of that Tulsa game where they gave up 65 points and lost. So I guess that was actually the last time they gave up over 63. But on the road, they've given up this year in conference play 54 to UCF, 65 to Tulsa. 51 to Temple. So I mean, this is a smothering defense on the road. They should still put up 65, 70 points, but the fact is, I expect them to, you're looking at a 17-point spread here. I expect them to probably cover that number, but I'm also expecting them to go under. I like the under a little bit more.
I agree. I like Houston. I circled that one earlier today. They won the last meeting January 9th, 71-50. But since then, Tulane hasn't played since the 16th. And when they lost to Temple, they only scored 57 points in that game. So they struggle to score. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in that conference, where Houston plays suffocating defense and can rebound the basketball. Oof, I think it's going to be a long night. And you mentioned, Dan, there are these other games that people might be distracted. People are going to look at Gonzaga, even Belmont for that matter, versus Austin Peay. Like, there are some other games in here, but, just to kind of show you some trends in this one, the road team, this is Houston going on the road tonight, 11-4 against the spread the last 15 meetings. And look at all these under trends, Dan. Like, it's just everything's kind of leaning Houston under. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
so what was the number again? You got it out? Just so
128 is the
oh,
is
wow.
the number. Yep.
Okay. So it was 70-51 last meeting. So it was 121, and tonight we get 127, and it's gone up a half a point.
128.
Okay.
Yep, 128 is where it's currently at right now. The other 9:00 game I'm looking at, which I'm probably not going to play, but I am looking at, is that Wyoming San Diego State game. I know it's a big number to lay, but I am considering laying the fat number with San Diego State at home tonight against Wyoming, who I think is one of the more overrated teams in the Mountain West. I know they're 4-4. But just in general, I think that 10-5 and 4-4 record is heavily inflated. I mean, Wyoming's non-conference schedule is Mississippi Valley, Texas Southern, Incarnate Word. A good win. I will give them this. A good win on the road at Oregon State, Denver, Utah Valley, and Omaha. Omaha, Nebraska, by the way. Then they actually lost outright to Air Force on the road. Lost to Air Force, who, in my opinion, is probably the worst team in the conference. Maybe not the worst. San Jose State might be worse, and so New Mexico, but they're in that conversation. Lost on the road at Air Force. Now, they did win both home games at home versus Nevada, which in my opinion was impressive, which is kind of why I'm not all over this tonight. But on the road, this is a team, in my opinion, that struggles. If they cover tonight against San Diego State, then you know what we're going to do. We're going to hop back on them Saturday, and we're going to ride San Diego State Saturday. I'm not going to PP it tonight, but I am very interested to see where the first leg of this one goes, Joe.
Look at these two teams, man. Double-digit wins already this year. No real trends when it comes to these two teams in the past here. Wow, this is a damn good matchup. Trying to see if there was anything else here but this is a good game. 141. Both teams are in Wyoming's played well on the road. Another 4-2. So yeah, not a lot of info between these two teams. I would say probably San Diego State is the better coached. It's a big line here for a team that's unknown. That's a big line.
Yep. I mean, again, that's why I'm not rushing out there to lay the 15.5, but it is something I'm looking at and something I'm also looking at for, possibly a Saturday play as well.
Cool. And then nightcap, we get ourselves a little Arizona action versus Stanford. Stanford got me last week with that UCLA. Won in the overtime. We meant the last matchup here. Stanford won. I had that. Arizona didn't show up this night. Stanford did. I remember this game. Yeah, it was just before the holiday. I think we actually did a podcast that night. And I'm trying to remember because I know Arizona lost some players, but they hung around with UCLA the other night. Stanford's got one of the best young freshmen in the country, who's very good. And at times I think Arizona is a little like front runners. Is that the word? Favorite 4-0 in the last 4 meetings.
Yes, again, Stanford. I mean, we did kind of talk about them on the last podcast. So I told you I thought basically they would be without a good portion of their team, moving forward. And I do think that kind of remains. I think Dejan Davis is out. Same with Zaire Williams. I can double check that tonight, but I believe both those guys are likely out again. And unfortunately, Stanford is just not a backable team, in my opinion, right now, unless you get them in a great spot. Arizona, to me, just continues to be a tough team to bet against. They're playing really, really well right now. This is not a spot I'm looking to back Stanford in.
1-4 against the spread the last 5 games. And some people mentioned the mics are cutting out. I think what it is, I'm coughing. I went outside to shovel before I came back inside, and now my lungs are filled with freezing cold air. And every time Dan talks, I'm coughing. It's cutting out his mic, so I apologize. It's definitely me. It's definitely me coughing. So I apologize for the interruptions here. Anything else tonight, Dan? When it comes to college basketball, I know everyone's going to bet on that Stanford. I'm kind of worried about that. Stanford's played well lately, and I feel like Arizona is going to get the love late night, on a 10 o'clock bet. Let's go Arizona, but people don't realize Stanford's played pretty tough lately. And then generally these totals here at night, I tend to stay away from. Even Arizona State's an 8-point favorite. Yeah, right. Ugh, I would not bet that.
No.
Yeah, I'm out on Arizona State.
All right, we can take a quick look at the Friday slate in college basketball. I know that there's a lot of day action. I don't think that we need to cover the little teams. To me, I think the best game Friday night, at least in my opinion, is where was it? Is St. Louis Richmond. St. Louis on the road versus a Richmond team who I think has been. I think is probably better. They're probably better than that St. Louis team who's ranked right now. Richmond obviously faced, tougher, in my opinion, a tougher schedule, definitely tougher non-conference with the exception of maybe Minnesota. Richmond has a win at Kentucky. They lost at West Virginia, but still a win at Vanderbilt, win home versus Wofford. To me, if you're asking which of the two teams have been tested more, in my opinion, it's been Richmond. I think that they've been a really, really good side this year. Now, again, they've only played a few games in the A10. They're 4-2 this year in the A10. They did have a bad loss to LaSalle a couple days ago, which was not very impressive. That being said, St. Louis just lost at home to Dayton outright. I do think Richmond probably is the spot here. I'm not gonna play it at 1.5 point line. Again, I do think that is probably, in my opinion, the most interesting game Friday night. I know that there are some others. I know everyone's going to love the Iowa-Illinois game. I'm shocked that the spread is where it is, honestly, especially with Illinois recent play. I know they had a nice win versus Penn State, but the last two games prior to that at home were real bad. I mean, losses home versus Maryland and home versus Ohio State, both outright losses. Did bounce back with a Penn State victory, but now they're 2-point favorites on home versus Iowa. I know Iowa's coming off that shitty Indiana game, but just in general, Iowa's been a wagon all season. So this is kind of surprising to me. I know it's on the road. This is just a game I have no feel for on which side I'll probably take. If I do take a side, I know it's super fucking square, but I lean Iowa just right off the bat. It's hard for me to not want to take them.
Only thing I'll say about that matchup, if like we went to the game, right? We knew nothing about either team and we just showed up. We'd look at it and say, wow, the Illinois team is more skilled. You know what I mean? You would just see the athleticism on Illinois by just looking at them. They are uber talented. Now, we did that loss. I give Indiana so much credit because they haven't been great, Indiana. They were outstanding. And not to mention Iowa lost its big man, one of the other guy that plays next to Garza. And that changed the complexion of that game. Right now, I see 160, Dan. The last meeting a year ago, 78-76. So what's that, 154? And they're trying to get you in the 160s. The home team in the last 5 meetings is 4-1 against the spread. This is a different Iowa team, though, man. Like, they're just a different team. The over has been one of the big trends when it comes to Iowa in general. 12-5 is their over under so far this year. That's interesting. I think I would probably back Iowa in the spot off a loss. But again, what type of Iowa team are we going to get? We're going to get the team that has been shredding everybody this year. And then Illinois, right? Like they clearly have more athletic ability. They do. This is going to be a good game. 9:00 tomorrow night. But Iowa's probably the better team. You're right.
Again, I think that I think that this is one of those games that's going to end up being heavily bet. Me personally, I mean, I can tell you early on, the money's going to be on Iowa. I don't think that's going to be a fucking surprise or a shock. I expect that Iowa will end up being close. It does kind of remind me of the Michigan State game tonight. In some ways, where I think the road team is a little bit better, but it may not necessarily be a bad spot. That being said, Iowa's a tough one to fade. It's similar to Gonzaga. They're a tough one to fade in these certain situations, and I won't do it. I can't do it. I won't do it. I think it's going to be super tough. And then one more tomorrow night. One more. Really under talked about a couple of teams out in the Mountain West who just don't get recognition despite how good they've been. Boise State 13-2 this year, Joe. 9-1 the Mountain West. Colorado State 13-2. Sorry, 12-3, and they're 9-2 in the Mountain West. I don't know why these teams don't get the recognition. Maybe it's just because they've played mostly Mountain West teams. Boise State lost at Houston to open the season by 10, so I guess you can kind of consider that. But to me, Boise State has faced a good amount of competition. A win on the road at BYU, it's probably their best win, unfortunately. But 2 wins on the road at Wyoming, a win versus Fresno. They did lose on the road to Colorado State a couple days ago. I like Boise to come back and win outright +1 in that. You know what? Fuck it. Let me lock that up for tomorrow. Give me Boise State +1.
Colorado State 7-0 at home, but you mentioned Broncos home team 4-1 against the spread the last 5 meetings. And I'm trying to see, no last meeting info with here, but
I mean, they just played. Colorado State blew them out. They had a terrible first half, and then they played I don't know. Was it yesterday? I think it was. Colorado State blew them out in the first half. Second half didn't get any closer. Boise State just played terribly in that game. I'm expecting a bounce back on the road. To me, they're too good of a road side. They have been this season, especially at Wyoming.
Right. They did. They played them the other night and it went. I think it went way over too.
Yep. So give me Boise State on the bounce back. It's probably going to be the public side. I get that, but I don't care. Give me Boise State on the bounce back. 11:00 tomorrow night. That's the late one. I'm taking my Boise State team to bounce back.
All right. Let's take a quick look at the NBA tonight. Not a great card. Blazers, Houston. I mean, I don't even know who's playing in this game. This is the game I'm interested in. Clippers, Miami. Miami's getting the low. It was 5, Dan, at my book earlier today.
Yep.
It's 3.5 now. This is probably the TNT game tonight, I assume. Yep. The Clippers are one of the best teams in basketball. Is Kawhi not playing? Paul George not playing? Well, what's going on here?
Yeah, so there's a large amount of players out tonight for the Clippers as it was last night. Against Miami. To me, Miami has been probably one of the worst teams. Unfortunately, to start. Beverly, I believe, is out tonight. Kawhi, I know, is out with a COVID protocol, as is Paul George. But I still take a look at this Miami team, and man, they have struggled out of the gates. If you got the early number with the Clippers, I don't blame you for laying it whatsoever. The early number, I ended up getting a little bit of 5.5 there with the Clippers earlier today, and I got lucky. I was not aware of the other line movement. I'm not moving lines anywhere. I just do think that that is going to be one that's certainly going to be interesting. I'm looking at unders in the NBA tonight, honestly, Joe. I'm looking at the Pistons under. I'm looking at the Warriors under. To me, the Lakers, no Anthony Davis. It's not great for the Lakers. Again, they've been really good on the road. They lost last night against Philly finally. The Pistons, obviously not a good team, 4-14, but they have had some moments, right? They have had some moments. Jeremy Grant has been much better for that team. I wonder, Joe, just openly wonder, I do, if Detroit makes this game close. I'm not looking to lay the number at 6.5. You got it at 10. Good for you. I don't think that's a bad number, especially with Davis out. But this to me feels like a game where the Lakers maybe struggle a little bit offensively. Maybe you're looking at a type of game last night, like a 107, 107 to 100 type game. I do think this game is going to ultimately go under.
Holy crap! All right, this isn't official, but I just saw this on Twitter. No blue, brown check mark, as some people like to call it. Kawhi Leonard out, Paul George out, Patrick Beverly out, Mo Harkless out, Myers Leonard out, Jimmy Butler's questionable, Goran Dragic questionable, Harold questionable, Duncan Robinson questionable.
Wow, yeah, that's a hell of a lot of injuries for Miami too. It's a shit game. I think honestly, just trying to get the best side is important, in my opinion. Or trying to get the best number, in my important. So, whatever you got to do. Yeah, again, it's gonna suck.
That's that's happened a couple of times on these TNT games so far this year. And then how about this? How about late night? Hey, what's up with this? Don't you want to jump all over that right there? Well, Phoenix, as a favorite.
I mean, Phoenix has not been a great home side. I don't see the love of Phoenix. Golden State, in my opinion, has progressively gotten better. Now, the last few games, they did it. They lost at home to the Knicks, lost on the road to the Jazz, but come back, won back-to-back against the T-Wolves. The Suns have lost 4 of their last 5, and I think something like 5 of their last 6, and 7 of their last 9. They've been on. I mean, ever since they started blazing out early in the season, they've really struggled. Even at home, they lost back-to-back games against the Nuggets, then lost last night to the Thunder. This does feel like another game where you're looking at, the Warriors, in my opinion, probably being the side. I have no interest in in playing anything, I would look at the under. But I'd probably try and get a live. I think the number is still too low at 219. I'd probably be looking for something in the mid 220s.
You mentioned it. Suns are 1-4 the last 5 home games. They're 1-5 against spread just their last 6 games overall, while Golden State has been scoring at will. And just looking at the under 6-0 the last 6 meetings between the two teams. So keep that one in mind tonight. All right, Dan. Should we just keep moving along?
Yeah, you want to move over to the hockey card here?
Let's see what we got in the NA. Oh, I got to play. And I'm tailing it. I'm tailing a play.
Okay.
I'm tailing a play tonight. All right. So back in my heyday, let's call it 07, 08. I loved betting on hockey. I didn't look at any matchups or anything. And I would just bet the first period unders. Only first period unders. Nothing else. Not the over. None of that. Just first period unders. And it was so profitable to me. And Dan, I had it down to like a science, like I'd look at hey, how was last Thursday night? And then I would bet the grand salamis. You know what I'm saying? Like I would just look at what teams did like a week ago on like a Thursday to this week, and I'd just kind of flip a coin and go with it. Now, it wasn't not a great strategy, and I don't suggest anyone to do that. But I'm riding a trend tonight when it comes to the Bruins in the first period. The only thing that worries me is the fact that Tuukka Rask is out tonight, and they're going to have Halak in net. So Rask got injured, actually. He's out. He's not even going to play tonight. But I'm going first period under, and I'm tailing my boy Joe Oz from Odd Shark. He's the one that brought this to my attention. I've been looking at it for a little bit here. But yeah, first periods. The Bruins have gone under in the first period in all 6 of their games this year. So I'm riding it, boom, boom, for a 7th in a row. Be careful.
In that?
PP, 1.5 under first period. Now, here's what I would suggest, just to throw it out there. It's happened 6 in a row. So you're either betting on this thing to the streak to end tonight, which all streaks are made to end, okay? I'm just riding it because I think it's going to happen again tonight. Both teams kind of know each other, and I just feel like maybe the first period just might be chippy a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm riding the under 1.5.
All right, I got 2 for you tonight. I am taking the Carolina Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Lightning under 6 minus 115.
Look at that, 6.
Yeah, under 6. And then I am going to take the Vancouver Canucks and the Ottawa Senators over, Joe, you heard me, over 6.5 tonight.
Whoa.
There you go. So those
are
my
two. Ottawa sucks, huh?
Yeah, my two hockey. Yeah, those are my two puck plays for tonight. There's basically no puck tomorrow. It's just one game, just that Blackhawks game, so you can focus on the NBA tomorrow. But yeah, I'm riding those 2 tonight. I also, if you're looking for a side, I do like the Buffalo Sabres, personally tonight. Even though I know Shesterkin is starting for the Rangers, but I do like the Sabres. Just me personally.
That Ottawa game that you're talking about, 5-1 on the over last 6 meetings between the two teams.
Which one?
Vancouver, Ottawa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually a late game tonight. That is the 10 o'clock based in the West Coast special out there. And then I will say the other side they looked. I did like Buffalo as a side tonight. Potentially in that one, which it's not super shocking. That Anaheim Arizona game to me is interesting. I would look at maybe playing that one live. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be on Arizona the under on that one tonight. And Joe, I think the Bruins are in a little bit of trouble tonight. They're up to minus 140.
I agree.
I think that market is very high without Rask. I know that this is a Boston Bruins home game, and I know that they've been good at home versus the Penguins. 3 in the last 3 in a row. But I just think that's a high number in this market. I actually think that Boston's won 5 in a row at home, maybe more. When's the last time Pittsburgh won in Boston? It's been a long time. But nonetheless, I think that's just a high number. I'm not going to play it. I just do think that is a high number with no Tuukka Rask. And but again, I will say, even with the Bruins young defense core, they play better. But in front of a guy like Halak and ALLS shots, and it's weird, but it is true. It really does happen.
All right. And for those listening, are you still hearing audio? Someone says we sound like the Cocoa Boys, whatever that means. Like, I'm in love with the Cocoa. I'm in love and I don't know.
Hopefully, maybe my mic's not working. Let's see.
I don't know. Maybe it's me.
It looks like the mic's working. I don't know.
Yeah, everything's fine on my end. I mean, I'm in love with the Cocoa. All right. So
All right.
We've done NHL, we've done NBA, we've done college. Should we do a little NFL here?
Let's move on to the NFL. Let's move on to the Super Bowl. We can, if there's questions, prop questions, or any questions you guys have, I think tonight would be a good night to take some questions, Joe, because we have, we don't have a ton tonight. So if you guys want some questions, send them on in.
Yeah, and I think Saturday's show we'll probably do a lot more on it. We have Luke from Prop Swap calling in this week too, and yep. I'm sure that. Dude, all right. So I have to tell you this, Dan. I have a ticket. Oh shit! It's to win 2000.
You got Prop Swap?
No. I took Tampa Bay messing around earlier this year, like to win the Super Bowl. Hang on, I'll share my ticket so people can believe me. Where is it? Okay, so I have odds to win the championship. Tampa Bay plus 2,000, 100 to win 2,000. It's right here, an actual ticket. Okay?
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 500 on, and you can probably walk me through this. I'm going to put 550 to win 500 on Kansas City. So
how?
Well,
you laying the spread?
Yeah, just spread.
Okay.
So for example, if Tampa Bay wins, just subtract 550. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what's that? 1450 I come away with. If the bet loses, I win $400. So like if my Bucks bet loses. So
you can also get middled there. I just want to give you a heads up.
Well, with the money line, I can, yeah.
Yep.
So like for example, right? Is it worth me putting up? I mean, I guess that's the question, right? Do I try the money line? What is the money line? 170?
Minus 165, 170.
Okay, yeah. So 165. So let's just say I do 165 times 5. So it's 825 I'm looking at now. So 2,000 minus 825.
So I can tell you
$1,100.
So I can tell you when Brady signed with the Bucks, I got a 40-1 ticket on Tampa Bay. All right, it was an incredibly just a throw it out there ticket. You know what I mean? It was nothing special, just to throw it out there ticket. I think I'm gonna have to take the other side. The other thing that you can do, throwing it out there if you want to do it, Joe, is, and again, to me, this is not a fun rule, but you can, if you feel strongly about a teaser side, you can tease once. You can tease, Kansas City at a +3, and you can leave an open teaser on one of these books here until you find another side you like. Now, I personally would not do that because I think that now you're playing with fire, because if you lose the second teaser side, then you're really fucked. But just saying, I do see a situation where you can do that and you can kind of get away with it. I personally will be hedging my ticket. I do think that's the right move. I talked about in the specials, and you'll hear one tomorrow on 95 the Sports Hub, that if you want to, and especially for the Bucks, if you like the Bucks, in my opinion, I would be looking at Brady plus 200 for the MVP because I think that if the Bucks are going to win, it's not going to be
Yeah, it'll be
it's not
Brady.
going to be a defensive player who's going to win.
Brady could throw for 169 yards and win the damn thing.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel it's going to have to be a Brady game, especially
or like Godwin or Fournette would have to have 4 touchdowns or something. You know, like a Deion Branch type game. You know.
So exactly. So that's the way I feel now. Again, I feel somewhat similar with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I do feel like it's very, very possible that Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce go off, and therefore it's possible that one of them gets an MVP side. So I don't feel as confident about, Mahomes, even though he's in the plus 100 even range. But I do think if you're going to look at the Bucks on the money line this week, I think one way to bet it really is to go Brady with the MVP, and I think you can probably find a line that's better than 200. I'm just using the first line that popped up on my screen there. I have not line shopped, but that would be another avenue to approach it if you'd like. I know we haven't done a ton of props yet. There's still just most of the props still have not been rolled out, and they're starting to roll out today, tomorrow, and Saturday, and we'll be able to get into a much deeper discussion on those. In regards to that, what I can say is right now, early on, Joe, I can tell you the side I'm leaning. I'm liking Tampa. I am. I'm liking Tampa. I think that if they control the clock, and I do think that if they do that, they control the clock. I like where Tampa is going. I do. I think they're playing very, very, very well. Kansas City is still at times kind of scaring me a little bit. Like even in that Buffalo game, I just didn't feel like Buffalo was totally out of it at times. To me, once Tampa scored that touchdown at half, I felt like the game was over. No matter what happened in the second half, I never felt like Green Bay was going to get back into it. I didn't feel it was remotely that close either. It does feel like a difference of two teams just kind of going sideways. Now, the early action in the Super Bowl, not really surprising, is that there's a shitload of money on the over and a shitload of money on Kansas City. So, I mean, that's not really a shock. That's kind of where you would expect all this money to go. I just, I do think that, I do think that ultimately Tampa is going to be the side. I'm going to give out my pick early next week. But I do, that is the side that I'm currently leaning right now, Joe.
One more time on that hedge that I'm doing. I was thinking of just doing 500 because if I come away, if the Chiefs win and I lose the bet, I win $400. I win 400. What if I put 1,000 on today? Like right now, I put 1,000 on the Chiefs money line for 11.65. So if I win 1,000 and then subtract $100 for my Bucks bet. I'm at 900. But if Tampa Bay wins, I win 900. So do you think I'm better off putting $1,000 on it? So either way, I win $900.
I mean, if you want to lock in some profit, that's not a bad way to do it. But again, it's really up to your preference. If you lean Tampa, if you want to, you want to cut a little bit more with a little bit more Tampa money, feel free. If you like Kansas City more, you can cut a little bit more Kansas City money in there. I mean, that's the good thing about the hedge is you can kind of lock in profit, but still lean a direction.
Like,
and
I could lock in
for something.
I could lock in $900 right now.
Yes, I mean you would lock in. Yeah, you would lock in. 900. I mean you'd lose a little bit more than 900 with Kansas City.
So, it'd be 2,000 minus 11.65. So that'd be it'd be 840, 835. So I'd either win 835 if the Bucks win or 900 if Tampa Bay won.
Yep. Again, that is a possibility.
Yeah.
Again, it's up to you. Again, it really depends on how you split it. I've actually gotten a bunch of questions about how to hedge Tampa futures, which is not a surprise because a ton of Patriots fans bet Tampa futures. Which again, knowing Brady and everything, that shouldn't surprise anyone.
Yeah,
like, of course,
I just did it for fun. I was like, let's try it out. But that's interesting to me. I'm so just to tease a couple of things. Coin toss is something I bet on every year. Last year was tails. The 2 years prior were heads. The 4 years prior to that were tails, 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 tails. So that's what a 4, 5, 7 year sample, Dan. It's been tails 29 times, heads 25 times. I'm gonna still wait it out, but I think I'm doubling down on tails again this year, and it's even money. I saw at DraftKings it was 103.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a small vig on both sides.
Yep. So that's one. Will there be a safety? Is a bet that I do every year with Hardy. He hit one year and got me for $600. And then will there be overtime? Those are huge odds.
Yep, there are.
So I would suggest safety and overtime are like the smart bets. You put $25 on it, you might be able to come away with $300 or whatever. And I'm trying to think what was the other one. There's no value in the coin toss, by the way. That's just for fun. I'm trying to think of what's the other overtime.
The anthem is always
anthem. There you go. Boom.
Yeah, we'll get that in the next few weeks. So again, hey, the next few days, we'll be able to get kind of everything.
I think we've been doing it of late, but looking into player props. Last year I took who's the third string running back for Tampa Bay, not Tampa Bay, Kansas City, and I took him to get a half a yard.
Oh, I think it was Darrell Williams.
I bet him a half a yard is all he had to do. In his one carry, he had -1. His one fucking carry. That. And then I think I had Justek. He scored twice, I think. Which hit. And then I had Mahomes rushing, which hit. I had Mahomes touchdown. Mahomes crushed Super Bowl odds last year. I don't see that happening this year, believe it or not, because of his injury thing. But who knows? He might play balls out.
Do you remember what happened at the end of the game with the Mahomes rushing prop?
Oh, didn't it? Because of the knee, right?
Yeah. So if you got the early number like we did, we gave out the early number. I think it was like 15.5 or something like that, or 13.5, whatever. We won by half a yard, but he lost almost like 25 yards on kneel downs. It was fucking ridiculous watching that, and guys were losing their minds over that. So
speaking of that, can we do a little victory lap for fucking my man Poirier this week over Conor McGregor? Winning at 232 in the second round, and
he redeemed that Mayweather bet, man.
That's karma, motherfucker, right there. I'm sorry, like 232. He put Conor to sleep. All right, he is now 11-2 since he's lost to fucking Conor McGregor. We need to start thinking like that in that sport. Again, I'm not an MMA expert. But that, Dan, is the one sport where, like, you're on top for a period of time, and then you're getting knocked the fuck off. Like, think about it. All these stars, going back to Tank Abbott, fucking Chuck Liddell, right? Ronda Rousey, right? I mean, just think about all these Brock Lesnar, Alistair Overeem, like Conor McGregor. It's going to happen to Stipe Miocic soon. Amanda Nunes is still the greatest but unless some other girl comes along, and I don't know who it will. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that in that sport, when you see value like that, it was hard to go against McGregor, and he looked great in that first round. He did. Don't get me wrong.
He did. I thought he was making it look real easy in the first round. And I tweeted that looked real bad.
Poirier kicked the shit out of his leg, though. That's what fucked him up. He sat down, he got cramped up, and boom. But all I'm trying to say in that sport in particular, there is a lot of value in the underdog, especially a long reigning champion. In that spot, man, I wish I took it. And but whatever, we hit the over 1.5, so fucking victory lap there. Anything else? Oh, and real quick on this game, the Super Bowl. They met earlier in the year, 27-24. Chiefs got out to a 17-0 lead. They fucking toyed with Tampa Bay the rest of the way. It was a 3-point game in the end, but like that was like the Chiefs just fucking let's just get out of here kind of thing, you know? But I don't know. Maybe the little late comeback for Tampa Bay gives them a little confidence this week. I mean, they finally covered a spread. You know, Buffalo looked like shit. I'm sorry they did. They tried. They got that onside kick and had a shot. I agree with you, Dan. Right now, I'm not going against fucking Tom Brady. But I just have this feeling in me that I think the Chiefs are just remember we talked about Square and COVID times and everything? I just think that this is just the spot for the Chiefs.
We'll find out.
We got a whole week to talk about. Oh, and let's not forget, fucking the left tackle Fisher's out for Kansas City. That's a huge loss.
It is
a fucking huge loss for that team. And their other guard, remember he didn't play Tardif or whatever the fuck his name is. He opted out this year.
Yep.
So they're without their whole left offensive from a year ago Super Bowl. A whole left side in the Super Bowl they're playing without.
Well, we're gonna find out just how good they are. With how good Mahomes can be without a starting line. We'll see what happens. We have a long while to talk about this game, especially we have a show Saturday. We have a podcast next Thursday, and then we have the show next Thursday before the Super Bowl. We have 3 more shows to get into it. We'll discuss a lot. We will do props. We will do sides. We will do MVP. We will do anthem talk. We'll do everything in the next few weeks. So we're not going to get super into it tonight. More of a, hour-long podcast as we did last week, kind of big, in and out, especially with the amount of content that's going to be consumed in the next few days. So, I think we nice short podcast again tonight, Joe. Got some picks in, gave out a pick for tomorrow, touched a little bit on the Super Bowl, touched some NBA, some college basketball, some NHL, and we will we'll start to kind of get into to some more stuff.
And I just wanted to share that USC game. Dude, the spread was 12.5. Look at the score.
That covered by 13.
I didn't bet it, but it's so funny, isn't it? And what was the over under? Oh shit. 135, 137.
Yep.
That's fucking brutal.
Yep. I mean, again, that's how good Vegas is, man. These line setters are very good.
Did you see the West Virginia game the other night too?
I did. Yep. It was a good game. You
could have been on anything earlier in the day if you were on. It depended on when you made the bet. That's literally how that side ended up, was where you were that day. A gambler's nightmare, Dan. So, all right. Good luck to everybody tonight. An hour podcast in the books. That's it for Dan Lifshotz. I'm Joe Murray. We will talk to you guys on Saturday morning, 7 a.m. This has been another edition of the Over Under 985 podcast.
Who you got?
And later, guys.